Books with interactive flaps, dials, pop-ups, and other moving parts have captivated readers of all ages for centuries, even before the beginning of printing. Today, we might think of movable books as being primarily pop-ups intended for children. Yet pop-ups are just one example of an extensive history of movable books. The Newberry's collection includes hundreds of books, maps, and printed sheets of ephemera with hands-on components. Dating from the late 1400s to the present, the moving parts within these publications enabled a wide range of users, from mathematicians to emperors to children, to better grasp the workings of their world. The art, science, and business of creating and printing movable books developed gradually over centuries, and different readers interacted with these tactile objects in multiple ways. Scholars constituted the initial audience and could construct movable elements in early books themselves. The format soon inspired general education and informed modern artist books, eventually becoming more theatrical and complicated. Paper in 3 dimensions, the parts of movable books. The main interactive components and structures of movable books include volvels, rotatable, but not always round, dials used to perform calculations or create optical illusions, flaps, paper extensions that can be lifted to show different views of a scene or subject, such as before and after, sometimes called lift the flaps, or turn-ups, pop-ups, paper-engineered constructions that rise when pages are turned, globe cores, elongated paper strips that can be constructed into a 3-dimensional globe of the heavens or the earth. Usually issued in single sheets, they were also collected in albums. The earliest known surviving manuscript flaps date from 1121 AD, and the earliest volvel from 1250 AD, with printed movable books, constructible globes, and other formats produced in 3 dimensions beginning in the late 15th century. Dioramas and extendable tunnel books showing 3-dimensional scenes appeared during the 18th and 19th centuries, though the term pop-up was not trademarked until 1932 with the blue ribbon books Pop-Up Pinocchio. Books using these techniques explored many themes, including religious devotion, science, political theater, entertainment, and artistic inspiration. From scholarship to entertainment. Who used movable books? The earliest movable books were scholarly, mostly devotional manuscripts written in and preserved by monasteries, which were often solely the domain of men. Renaissance-era mathematicians and artists like Albrecht Dürer dedicated their movable printed teaching manuals to other artists and craftsmen, and used them to impress noble patrons. Male university students might have read one of the many editions of Peter Appian's Cosmography, with its dials, or cheaper abbreviated versions of Andreas Vesalius's Fabrica, with its anatomy flap diagrams. Wealthy young men, and increasingly women too, became audiences for movable books in the 16th and 17th centuries, pursuing activities ranging from making predictions with specialized astronomical texts to playing fortune-telling games. By the 18th century, some geographical manuals for affluent and literate consumers became explicitly coeducational. Eventually, movable and pop-up books would be marketed equally to male and female readers and intended to reach broader audiences. Putting it together, from doing it yourself to pre-assembled books, novelty was a major motivation for marketing movable books. Yet early modern publishers were initially hesitant to offer fragile dials or flap editions, leaving their construction in the hands of the buyers and bookbinders who assembled the sheets into codices. Because of this, many copies remain unconstructed. The most complicated movable books and presentation copies, however, usually would have come pre-assembled. By the 19th century, movable book formats became more available with more robust offerings for children. Printed souvenirs of dramatic theater performances, recreations of architecture and scenery, and even valentines proffering fold-out bouquets. More recently, innovations in paper engineering have emboldened bookmaking artists to adapt older techniques in new, structurally ambitious ways.
Exhibitions at the Newberry are free and open to all who wish to explore relevant topics and stories while coming face-to-face with our collection. Visit newberry.org to see what exciting exhibitions are on display today. We look forward to welcoming you to the Newberry.